the computer. Today we're going to focus on centering the pelvis. So step number one is taking a look, and this guy is really good because his pelvis is definitely not centered. So you can look at various different angles. And it's really easy because you have X-ray vision with this guy, right? You can see right to the bones. But you can see how it deviates from the center. You can see that there's a little rotation to it. There's definitely a tilt to it.
Well, he's kind of hanging, which most humans don't do.
Most humans don't do. But if you look, you know, you have stuff going on with the spine. You got the big twist in the spine like people do. So, you know, a lot of it has to do with the way he's put together.
Yeah.
And then what we want to do, and I'm gonna turn this guy so we can see better. The other thing that we want to do, it's not gonna. Is after you see, I'm just gonna hold them. After you take a look, you want to verify with your hands. There you go. So the places, if you're looking for to verify with your hands, is the ASIS, which is right here, the anterior superior iliac spine, and the PSIS, which is the posterior iliac spine, right? And if we just hold these things gently, now I can kind of feel how his pelvis is. And what I'm feeling is, comparing my two hands, I can feel he's a little rotated. It's rotated that direction, a little toward the left. And I can kind of feel which side is a little higher. And it's feeling like this side's maybe a little bit higher than this side. And then the other thing, so we have rotation. One side being higher than the other side is side bending.
The other side is higher.
Yeah. Yep. So we have side bending here, but by comparing the AS and the PS, right? These two parts of the iliac spine.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So by comparing the front and back, we can tell if he's tending to be extended or flexed. And what I'm feeling, this front part is much lower than the back part. And you can see it with the curve in the back here. So when you're looking at a person, it may be really, really difficult to see what's going on with the pelvis with all the clothes on.
Yeah.
So, you know, put your hands on the pelvis. You can put your hands on here or there, but kind of find this crest part and just kind of feel where it is. And then, I don't know. Martha, what do you think? Should we just keep skeleton quickly, or should we just go to a person?
Just keep going.
I'd finish with anything on the skeleton. Oh, you're thinking on the table?
On the table, yeah, just to kind of.
Oh, it's stay with the skeleton.
Yeah, let's stay with the skeleton, and then I can just have you guys work with each other. And we can take the stool and put the computer up on the stool.
That's a good view right there.
Hey, Bobby.
Bobby.
Wow. So it's nice to change things up a little bit and not have the person in the same position all the time. Do lessons different ways. And we can see where he's choosing to put himself.
Mhm.
Well, somewhat. I threw him on the table, so he only has so much say in this.
He likes to roll towards the ceiling.
Yeah, you can see that, you know, his tendency is to kind of go a little way, and we can see how he's rotating here. So that's really the first thing we're gonna do, is we're gonna notice, you know, he's not on his side, he's a little bit toward the back.
Mhm.
So that's an important thing to notice. And then the other thing we're gonna do, okay, well, let's just kind of verify this with hands. And this could be my little test movement, and yeah, this is real easy, rolling them backwards. Rolling them forward, not so much. Okay, and now I'm feeling, is it easier with ribs or is it easier with pelvis? It's easier with pelvis.
Mhm.
So I'm just gonna start with what's easy, the easiest place to go, right? And just this little rolling leg here. It's a very easy little place to go.
And Tom, your first intention, your thinking is
First-
connecting down to the floor or the table in this instance?
But what moves easiest and what moves direction? So this was my testing movement. And I did each one singly to find out which way was easier. And this was. So I'm just gonna feel, okay. This is our starting place, and I can see, okay, that leg's coming up and down, which means something's not happening in the hip joint, right? Because if this hip was mobile, right, like that, and could move like that, he'd be able to keep his leg in the same place. The leg's coming up and down a little bit, so that's letting me know that there's not much going on there. There is some movement up through here to here. So that's kind of nice too. So I can keep that in mind, how much that's going up. And look, and now it feels like maybe this got a little bit better here.
So Tom, is there a choice on which side to put him on, or you just threw him on the table?
I just threw them on the table. Usually, you're gonna ask the person to lie on their more comfortable side. And if they're not sure, you can have them try both.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't matter, then you can toss a corner. Or,
You can ask.
you know, depending on what you saw
Mm.
in the very beginning, the way that and we saw that he was rotated in one certain direction. Now the interesting thing is he's rotated in the other direction going down.
You can also ask them which side if they sleep on their sides.
Yeah. Yeah. So if they don't know, what side do you like to sleep on? And then they can hear your answer there too. Okay, so I'm just gonna stay where there's more movement.
What I'm noticing though is before, the pelvis wasn't so aligned with his head, you know? Now you have it in position so that the pelvis and the head.
Yeah, he's starting to become more and more in line just
Before,
By-
yeah, the
by
pelvis
doing
was still
these
this
movements
way, and the
together.
chest was like, you know?
yeah, he's starting to organize himself a little
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
Yeah. Now eventually, right? Eventually, we want to work so you can get the feeling of this too. And now, you know, since we kind of did all that preliminary work, yeah, we can kind of find this a little bit more. And then we also have our differentiation. this is side is the easier side to differentiate now. We can work with that. Okay. Go back to our original one. Now we're just kind of seeing that this is just more available easily. Okay, so when you look what's attaching to the pelvis, right, you have the spine, you have the rib cage, but you also have the other side of the pelvis and the leg, right? So now that we got all this moving nicely, and we're still noticing that this leg is undifferentiated. There's not really differentiation in that hip joint. So maybe what we may want to do is use something from this area, right? And we can find the back of the hip joint, the leg here, right? We had this movement in the ATM. So maybe it's like, yeah, let's just do this little movement in the ATM. Let's see if we can see the pelvis comes forward a little bit. Pelvis comes backwards a little bit. Go back to our little test movement. Yeah, his legs weren't locked. Yeah, a little more movement in the hip joint. Okay, you gotta go, Bobby. It's gonna be recorded, so. Now, the other option that we have, right, because we had not only the rotation, but we had side bending, we had flexion and extension. We could also work with centering the pelvis right in this direction, going up to the head and back. And this is nice too, because I can kind of find, yeah, a greater trochanter, or we can find that. We can think about that side bending movement. And then where is center? We can think, okay, side bending to the right, side bending to the left, center. Side bending to the right, side bending left, center. And that's kind of what we want to think about as we're doing this. As we're doing these two movements, we want to think about when when are we at center? And with him, it's gonna, that's about as center as he's gonna get. Center, this way, center, backwards, you know, and you can even say it to the person, center this way. So you're just stopping the center, turning, center, back. And we did the side bending, center, side bending the other way.
How would you do flexion?
Yeah, how are you gonna do flexion and extension? It's a good question. You know, you can play with the sit bones. So that's a little into extension.
Did you do play with flexing the foot or?
You can try that, and you can try, you know, using the legs if you want.
I'm just
You
trying
can,
to
you
have
can
get
come
them
up
to
on the
round,
back of the sacrum,
and
you know, and try, you know, kind of line yourself up like that. Extension. Flexion. You can kind of play with it that way a little bit. You know, if you slide the legs up, you may be able to get a little flexion that way. Slide the legs
Yeah.
back to get extension. So it's kind of what you feel most comfortable and where you'll feel comfortable with the student. Because yeah, sometimes
Maybe you can just.
the
like
sit
top
bone's
leg.
nice because it's really direct,
Yeah.
but it's kind of tricky.
kinda
And but you know, the best thing is play with it. We'll play with it ourselves, and then do it on people you know well, so you get really comfortable with it.
tricky.
But yeah, you know, you
You're just
can.
sliding the top leg, not both legs.
Yeah.
Would you do? because
Well,
that's kind of a
if you
lot of-
can, if you don't lift the legs, right?
Yeah,
I have one hand on the sacrum,
that's good. Mhm.
and I kind of have one hand on the knee there, right? And here,
You can definitely.
you
feel
hear
it.
the person can feel, okay, now we're more centered. Now we're into more flexion. So we'll kind of play with these things
Okay.
and see what works for people. Now, the trick is, don't lift the leg.
Yeah. you
That's gonna
slide,
get
yeah.
heavy and hard. Just
Right.
put your hands right under and just
Okay.
slide. You can see
Uh-huh.
how you can just slide the leg
I
kind of
see.
forward
Yeah,
and
yeah.
backwards. And then this hand is gonna kind of tell them what the pelvis is doing.
Okay. Nice.
You know, there's even the possibility from the head.
Yeah, right. I was thinking connecting it from the head, looking down.
Yeah, you probably like this,
Mhm.
you know, just sing, and with him it's not gonna work.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But there's, you know, or so it is. I can get a little bit,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's gonna depend on the student and kind of what's available.
Mhm.
Martha, you have any questions on any of this?
No, I'm good, thank you. Interesting to think about all the different angles where the connection might be found for you and the person.
But yeah, you know, Melonie, you just kind of summarized it well. You know, we're looking for where the center is in rotation,
Mhm.
side bending, flexion, and extension. So, you know, and we're just gonna start with easy, whatever direction's easy, we'll take the easy direction and just kind of go from there.
Mhm.
Oh. All right. Who wants to be student? Who wants to be practitioner?
Obviously, but I can already feel that I'm really off my pelvis.
Okay. Yeah, we'll move the table back here, Martha, later. Do you want the computer up higher?
That little white thing.
Let's see where you are and then I can't tell yet.
Okay, well, we're gonna start standing.
Oh, I see, got it, okay. That's okay. A little up.
Okay, so Janet's gonna start standing.
That, oh, she's going off camera, but
Yeah.
we'll see. Where are we gonna do? We're gonna eventually go over here?
Don't worry,
We can
we'll
just
move the
turn it.
table,
Oh,
just
okay.
keep the computer center, and the table will move around toward that.
Thank you.
And then, you know, Lonnie, you can kind of look behind.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, wrinkles kind of give you a little bit of an idea. You know, what looks, you can see the wrinkles are asymmetrical. But you're gonna use your hands to pretty much, also, you can see one hand's more forward than the other one, so that will be interesting to see how that relates to the pelvis.
Closer to the body. The left
Yeah,
hand a
one's
little
closer
higher.
to the body, one
Yeah.
side is shorter on the ribs than the other side, you can kind of see those are some massive wrinkles
Mhm.
right on that side of the shirt, so, well, you know, how the pelvis relates to that. Okay, so what I would do is I would just kind of look.
Move or just touch?
I'm just touching. And then I'm just gonna let Janet settle back. Yeah, so I can feel a little bit of a twist, I can feel one side a little higher than the other side. And comparing the two fingers, my thumbs are a little higher than my forefinger, so there's a little extension back there.
Mhm.
You know, and then you can
Right.
use your fingers to up here, and it's like, oh yeah, well, that makes
Yeah.
sense that the pelvis is like that, yeah.
Yeah, usually. When you stand, there is gonna be.
Yeah, and just hold the crest of the pelvis, and when you hold it in both hands, you can get a feeling of if one side's higher, and if one side's turned more forward. Yeah, if you want, you can close your eyes more on it, if that helps.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but this one feels higher to me, but maybe that's just.
Go ahead and put your hand a
Okay.
little flat like this so I can feel it for myself.
This one, do you feel best?
Yeah, because when I was, like the right one felt higher when I was doing it for myself, but I don't know.
Hmm. Um, yeah,
Mhm.
well, that's interesting that you feel the right is higher and I feel the left is, but we'll see.
Okay.
Mhm.
And we'll get, this first time doing it,
Right.
so it takes a few times before you can
Yeah.
really dial it in and get accurate. So the thing is just to do it on as many people as you can and get really comfortable, because it's something that you're not used to doing. Janet, do you have a side that you're more comfortable on?
I actually sleep on my right side, so I can put my hand.
Yeah, start like that.
So you can see the. One.
You want a pad for under your knees, or are you okay?
I'm good. Do you want, what do you do?
Yeah, put your arms comfortably.
She looks like she's ready to go to sleep.
Shoulders are lined up a little differently than the pelvis.
Mhm.
Shoulders more forward.
So the head is a little bit more forward.
Yeah.
The pelvis.
Mhm.
We'll curl that, you know, like you would go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of a little twist like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you can kind of see
Yeah.
direction of the wrinkles.
Mhm.
Okay, so what you can do, your test movement is just going to be rolling all of Janet as a unit,
Mhm.
a little forward, a little backwards, and just finding what's super easy. And if you want, you can go down a little bit on the ribs.
Over here.
Yeah, right there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, that way, you know, you're more directly connected. That's rough. Yeah, see if you can roll both at the same time. Yeah. Which direction's easier?
Backward, seems like she opens up.
Okay. Okay, so which is easier to do? Is it easier to roll the pelvis or is it easier to roll the rib cage?
The rib cage.
Okay, so start with the rib, just do the rib cage. And get a feeling of just rolling the rib cage. Can you feel the table?
Mhm.
Yeah, so feel what's going toward the table and away from the table.
An angle when she goes down, and then she comes closer and she goes in. And, you know.
Mhm.
Good. This way.
Yep, you're finding her pattern, that's nice. And we can see that's connecting really nice to her arms and her head. How's it connecting to her pelvis?
Mhm. A little bit, not less so. When we go opening this way, she comes to connects to her pelvis a little bit more.
Okay, that, yeah,
But when we're going this direction, she comes back to center. But then
Yeah,
that's
very
it.
good.
You know what I mean? She
Okay,
doesn't-
so-
it's not easy to.
yeah, so keep on going.
keep
And
going.
think about the table and the connection of the table and
Mhm.
feeling her rolling on the table.
Mhm.
And let's take a look at the spine and see how the spine's moving. How's the spine moving and turning? How's how the ribs connecting to the spine? So we see some movement here, right? So now with your other hand, you can just kind of find right under the spine, use your finger or your thumbs. Okay, now let your thumbs listen to your hand. Good. And now as you roll her back, you're gonna feel that roll into the thumb and now connect it with your thumb. So your thumb's moving now. There you go. And follow your thumb. Yeah, that's nice enough. Yeah, go down a little bit now. Move toward her pelvis with your thumb. Yeah, move down a couple of vertebrae because you got that moving and you want to get lower moving too.
I see the next vertebra.
Yeah, you're feeling the connection through the spine into the pelvis now, right?
I'll definitely see my thumb here. Yeah, in terms of my own use, this is probably not a good covering over. What do you?
Yeah, and what you can do
Yeah.
is you can play with having one foot up here. That makes it easier on your back. Good. Now, shift your weight forward. Bend the knee and shift forward. Use this shifting. So what you're gonna shift into her, you're gonna shift away from her. There you go. Yeah, you feel how you can use all of yourself now instead of just your arms and your hands? And now you got a lot more in the Janet's pelvis. Now you're really connecting. There you go. Yeah. Shift your weight back. Okay, that looks like you saw the connection. Now just do your hands again. let's see the difference of just rolling her ribs with the hands and seeing her. You see how nicely that's connected? Okay, now just go to, let's do the pelvis and just roll the pelvis and let's see how that's connected. Yeah, you can go back to both. Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of, because, you know, just, it was kind of like nice when you had them both kind of like now they're aligned
Yeah.
evenly. Now we just kind of do the even rolling, you know what I mean? Mhm.
but let's see what's going on with the
We
pelvis too.
want to see what's going on.
Well, you want to make sure that the pelvis is connected all the way through,
All the
right?
way through, yeah, no, that's the whole, we were all talking about the centering of the pelvis, so you're right, we need to move on, okay? Okay,
Yeah, now that is kind of tough on you.
Yeah.
You can get in the same position. Yeah, so, yeah, you can have 1 foot up, there you go. Yeah, and just sit back and just lean forward. And you can see that's
Just
going
connecting
through beautifully.
nicely here, right, and through her knee, yeah.
So now that that's all going well, now have your hands on the first test movement, on the ribs, on the pelvis, and you're gonna go forward, stop when you feel centered, go a little backwards. So rotating forward, finding where she's centered, rotating backwards. When is she just start to go forward? When is she in the center? And when is she just in the back, going backwards? And you can think of the hip joint. One is one hip joint just lying right on top of the other hip joint. Right now she's looking kind of centered.
No, I see.
So now a little forward from where I'm sitting, I'm looking at her hip joints and seeing if one hip joint is stacked right on top of the other hip
Do
joint.
you feel this is forward?
That's forward.
Oh, forward, okay, Janet.
Good.
Forward.
Yeah, and if you're not sure, you know, you can,
Center.
you can put one hand on her hip joint.
Okay.
You could eat, yeah, well, let's see if this works. So I have the hand on the hip. There's kind of, I feel one, that feels like the hip is kind of stacked. Little forward. Stack. Little back. So when is one hip joint directly over that other hip joint? And it may be easier to feel with your hand on the trochanter. Try, or it may be easier to feel the other way.
So this is stacked. Interesting. For me, for some reason, it feels like it's, but I can see her knees are stacked, which is like a good.
Well,
But it feels like.
this knee's in front of that knee. This left knee, see? That left knee is in front of the right knee. So the knees aren't stacked.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you're just gonna have to kind of feel. And if you want, what you can play with, find the two trochanters, slide one hand under here to feel the trochanter and feel the other trochanter there. That may be kind of tough to do. You may need to sit for this one on.
Is there a reason to focus on the hips joints being aligned over one another with the knees in?
Because that's tell you when the pelvis is centered or not.
But why not move the knees together?
The knees together may or may not result in the hips. Because if you look, her knees aren't parallel, right? The one
Right.
leg, you know, if both knees were lined directly over the hip joint, and you could do that. You could put some pads between the two legs and line the two knees up. So the knee is directly lined up with the hip joint. But you can see this knee joint is lower than Janet's hip joint.
Yeah, I was
She's lying
thinking, we
side.
do, when we do ATMs, we encourage people that sort of 90-degree angle if possible. And legs forward.
Right, but we're thinking about this hip joint here, and when these two hip joints are lined up and one goes a little in front of the other one and one goes a little in back of the other one. Because
Yeah.
that's telling you if your pelvis is turning forward, whether it's in line or if it's turning a little backwards.
And that can be regardless of how the knees are angled and stacked on each other.
It would be, you know, it's,
I'm playing around with it for myself, right? I can lower down one knee, but I could still stack my hip joints.
you can do that with the knees, you can play with it with the knees, but if you're right where the hips are, you're gonna have more accurate information. Because you're
Yeah.
where the hips are.
I hadn't thought about the hip stacking without the knee stacking, so it's new. Thank you.
Does this feel centered to you, Janet?
Yeah, now having her
Yeah.
knees like that already
Yeah.
made a change, cause
Mhm.
she's not being pulled forward, good.
Mhm, yeah.
So on this particular lesson, even if they don't need the pads, we may wanna
I think
use,
that's a good idea.
yeah, and maybe it can.
I think
Because
it's
she
better to
does
put
look
something
more,
between the knees.
she
Yeah,
does look more stacked.
yeah. Just tell them put like a folded towel or something or anything between the knees.
Yeah, so you can feel when she's a little forward, when she's stacked, and a little backwards, right?
Oh, it's a little more easy.
Yeah. Now she's feeling more stacked, and yeah. Okay, so we learned something really important. Martha, that was a good comment with the knees, because they do play a part in this, and if they're on top of each other like that, it is gonna pull the pelvis in a particular position.
Mhm.
And it's much easier to find it this way, and that's
Yeah.
what we want.
Right, okay, yeah, nice.
Okay, so now you can play with this,
Right, okay.
finding the side bending, the center, and because you got that center, this should be pretty easy. And easiest way to do this is one here, and you're just gonna roll.
Okay.
And maybe easier standing. Yeah, what, no, that's not a good angle. So we're looking for the angle here. So stroke canter right around here, right here. So now I can just lean
You're
into
doing it
this.
up for yourself.
Oh, right now I'm just trying to find Janet's head. There we go. So that's her. And this is what's easy for her. It's easy to come in. So again, we're looking. Okay, we can feel the side bending. We can feel the coming back. And now we can feel the lengthening. Side bending. Back. But yeah, the more you can line up from the hip and have a direct line to the head, the easier your job will be.
Okay. You have the ability to go straight from the head. Depending on where she is on the table.
Yeah, so what you can also do is you can put this foot here You can have your left foot up. Yeah, yeah.
I'm just
Further down or to the side?
Melonie's not 6'2".
I
I
can.
noticed. I figured she was going to get closer in any moment, so.
Now you're gonna roll into the table. So it's kind of like this. It's not directly up. It's there, yep. Nice. Okay, now think, you're rolling over the bottom hip. So feel the bottom hip with your hands and feel how you're rolling over it like that. Good. Come back slowly. Feel where the center position is. Stop there so you know what center is. And now roll the other way so you can feel. Beautiful.
Really nice.
Yeah, Melonie has it. That's gotta feel good, Janet.
Because of the padding, I think, too.
Yeah, the padding made a big difference.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm thinking these two things are probably enough. I wouldn't even do flexion and
Don't
extension.
try to do the flexion and.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was
that's
kind
a
of
lot
like-
of information.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, maybe even just the rotation on both sides is enough. We'll see.
Well, this is kind of nice, because it gives you 2 dimensions for centering.
Yeah.
I mean, I was wondering about flexion and extension. I mean, all I could think of was the, the flex of foot, but like you said, you would have to kind of like bring it up too, and then flex it away,
Yeah.
like you said. But I don't think I could do it with two legs, a real
Yeah.
person, I just feel that would be a little
Yeah.
heavy.
Oh,
Try
yeah,
to
so what you would do is just kind
Yeah.
of play with,
But to
okay, so
do
now I
it
have the
slowly.
knees and I have
Mhm.
the sacrum
Yeah.
and we
Mhm.
and see how I have my
Yeah.
arm here, so
Yeah.
now my leg's gonna push my arm.
Okay, well, I think it would
And
be
my
easier for
legs
you to learn
gonna-
on flannel too, it's slide.
No, this is easy, this is fine, so
Mhm.
Do
Janet,
we have any kind of slippery fabric on the table?
Yeah,
And then.
then I think it would be a lot easier. Mhm.
That's so really good.
I have a comment with this, which is, just remember Mia, there's some demos with her. There's a guy who was a drummer who'd gotten sort of stuck in one shoulder. There's a lot of having the person make the movement themselves, right? And then supporting them in making the movement. Because you ask Janet to do the knees up and down a little bit herself, and you had hands on pelvis and things, right? There's a lot of feedback from, you could go, I'm not sure the best starting places for the hands either, but I'm just thinking that it is a movement she needs to make at various times, right? So you're sort of returning her to her own functionality.
go on in here.
Yeah, I was just trying to give her the information on how to center her pelvis, do
Yeah.
flexion and extension, so that she could, but you're right. we could-
Well, yeah, so yeah, feeling the centering and the flexion and the extension, and then eventually,
Yeah.
once she has that, then the idea is how can that go all the way up?
Mhm. Yeah.
Can go up a little bit more, Melonie, because she's getting lost here. Right
Yeah.
there is where she's getting
Yeah, I can
lost.
see that, but.
And help her feel how those two parts come together and move apart. Okay, now she's put one hand on her head, right there, the base, the neck and the base of the skull. Yeah, she's
Yeah. Right now, that's
That's your pattern. Okay, so Janet,
Mhm.
that's a nice little undifferentiated thing you got going.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Then try the other way.
well, what we wanna do, go ahead, keep your hands there. So Janet, as you tuck your tail, look down. Look down,
Mhm.
and as you untuck your tail, look up. Okay, so what we did
Mhm.
is we gave her another instruction to help her change the pattern. Yeah, now she's
Good.
putting that
And then just-
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
So
We finish-
let's just have Janet lie on the table normally. You feel a little more centered on the table now? We didn't have you lying on your back in the beginning, so
That's
we're not
true.
gonna
We'll just
worry
leave
about that.
She looks more,
Yeah?
like lined up from
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. Oh, let's have you get up and walk around a little bit, see how that is.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, stand up. Mhm.
And we could even do the end of the lesson to balance her out.
Very interesting. Oh, side feels different.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so can you feel how you are on your sit bones?
Her back, her wrinkles look more even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Level.
Do we wanna do this
And
sitting down or standing up? Probably. Because the swimming, well, you're gonna be sitting a long time on the airplane.
Yeah.
So this
thank
will
you.
probably give you something when you go on the airplane, so we'll have you do that sitting down. So what we did was the turning, right? We did the turning and the side bending.
Mhm.
But actually, to start, how do you feel your sit bones on the table,
Right,
Janet?
that's my first question, yeah. Do you feel
You
like
feel
you-
one more than the other?
I feel this
Back
one
of
more
them, the
because I
right
didn't
one.
get a chance to check it.
Okay. So you feel the right sit bone more than the left sit bone.
Yes.
Okay, so shift your weight on the right sit bone. Just stay there for a little bit. And breathe. Okay, now slowly come back and just don't do anything. Just let yourself shift a little bit. When you come back to the center position, you just may notice that there's an internal part of you that just wants to shift and readjust. So let yourself recalculate without doing anything. If you can develop that skill of keeping quiet and letting the internal part of you work, that will be amazingly valuable. Because usually we're screwing with stuff with the conscious mind.
Yeah, you're thinking too much, yeah.
Yeah, thinking too much. It's just letting the internal sensation of what you feel happen without judging, without controlling.
Mhm.
Yeah, are you feeling your left side a little bit more?
Not yet, but what I am feeling is something very, I don't know what to describe it as, but something's going on right here. The right side, lower ribs.
Well, let's give you a taste of being on your left side for a while. So now shift your weight on your left side. And just stay there. Feel what it's like to be on top of the left sit bone. You feel taller on that left sit bone?
Mhm.
Good. So now we're just dialing the sit bones into her self-image. She's feeling the one, and now she's going to feel the other one. Come back to center. Let yourself readjust. Okay, left one a little clearer.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're gonna shift your weight to the right sit bone. And then slowly shift to the left sit bone. And just like 2 or 3 times, go back and forth between each sit bone. And just think to yourself when you cross the center. When are you not to the left? When are you not to the right? Yeah, because Janet's a pretty experienced practitioner. She can kind of play with it a little bit. You can make it tiny if you want, and just kind of play a little one side, play a little the other side to just fine tune it. You make the movement smaller and smaller and smaller until there's no place left to go but go to your center.
Janet, are your feet supported
Mm-hmm.
comfortably?
Yeah, your feet are flat on the ground. Okay. Yeah, you can go quick and small. Go quick and small, quick and small. Now, what do you let go of when you go quick and small?
Up here in the chest.
Okay. Now let's play with a different way. Let's play with the 6 to 12. Easier to go back, right?
Mhm.
So just go back a tiny bit. Now get comfortable in that position and breathe. Now don't screw around, just sit there and
Okay.
focus on your breath without doing a swimmer's warm up. There it is. Part of it is just letting yourself sink into a position. There you go. And even though it's a weird position and not the correct position, quote unquote, see if you can still breathe comfortably in that position. There you go. You can feel the air going to your back. You can feel your back even lengthens as the air goes in. Okay, good. Now find the top of your sit bone. Yeah, feel how you get lifted. Find a comfortable way of breathing here. Yeah, 3 breaths. Yeah, you can let go of the stomach. That's it. Buddha breaths. Now, tilt a little forward. Just find a comfortable way of breathing in this position. You can feel you're just a little in front of the sit bone. You can feel maybe a little bit of an arch in your back. And come back to your sit bones. Good. Now you're going to use the feeling of how you feel your sit bones to notice when you feel the tallest. And you're going to do the little tilting backwards and forward. And just notice your height and how you get lifted from the table. Notice when you feel the most lifted or the tallest. Just by going slowly back and forth, finding where you have your greatest height. Notice where you feel tallest and what that has to do to where you are on your sit bone.
May I ask something?
Mm-hmm.
So Janet, when you go to the right sits bone,
Mhm.
what does your left heel do? And as you go to the left hip bone, does your right heel do?
You're having her do something different. You just put her out of flexion and extension into side to side, which is okay if you want to do that. Okay, now how just sit normally. Matter of fact, get up, walk around a little bit, see how that feels, and then we'll have you sit down again and see how you notice how you sit.
No, I appreciate that, Tom. And I had been focused when she was going side to side.
You notice that she's on one sit bone more than the other one still, and you may want to return to that. So, you know, if you have an intention for what you want to ask, that's fine.
Just different.
Okay, sit down again.
Okay.
Yeah, sit down in the same place for scientific reasons.
For scientific reasons.
The study of Janet.
Oh dear. The study.
There you go. Yeah, make sure your feet are nice and firm. Yeah, can you find center on your sit bones? Feeling more even?
Yeah, what I feel like I would like to do is to shift to the right and do the flexion extension.
Go ahead.
This is what I feel like I am kind of, it's like it's too not distributed.
You can just turn your head a little bit to look to the right and with your flexion extension. You get a little better idea.
Yeah, yeah,
And then-
good job.
Yeah, thinking of the eyes and the head. Yeah, and as you said, Mel,
And notice which foot, when you go flexion and extension, is the pressure a little different under your right foot versus the left foot? I mean, it's a little asymmetrical now. So what happens?
and we could also play with the turning, right?
And just like, yeah, using this idea that I think it's a good way to end for her, is to go and look to each side, you're on each sits bone, and then you're doing the flexion extension there, but connecting the head, the pelvis, and your feet.
Okay, so do that a little bit, and then,
it helps her find center.
yeah. Now Mia does a lot with turning.
Yeah.
Sometimes
And
you have
she
to
does.
go off center in order to find center. You know
Right.
what I mean?
That's true. So Janet, what you can do, turn, look over your right shoulder. Now, where does your weight shift and how do you use your sit bone?
No.
Yeah, so you're kind of crunching a little bit. So can you get on top of your sit bone and get taller on your sit bone? Go to the left. How do you do this on your left?
Definitely taller.
You get taller on your left, right? Come back, do that a few times. Now notice where you are on your sit bones and what you're doing with your pelvis and your right leg to get you on top of your left sit bone. Okay, good. Now try to find that on your right. Look up. There you go. Just to the right. Get up on the sit bone. What can you do with the right leg? I'm sorry, with the left leg and the right leg. How do the legs help you get on top of your sit bone and turn? There you go. You see how you're turning in your left leg now? And how you're using your right leg better? Good. Now go to the left and check to see if that's what you do on your left.
Exactly.
Good. Now duplicate that on your right. Feeling similar?
Getting there, I have to learn to do.
Good. So there's a shortening. Go to the left. Feel the shortening of the lower ribs. Do you feel how your pelvis and your shoulder are coming together? See if you can find that on the other side. There you go. Lift the pelvis. Shorten, shorten, shorten. Good. There you go. Shorten and unshorten. Put the left sit bone on the table and lift it up. Now stay turned. Remember this ATM? There you go. Do this ATM. There you go. That's the missing piece.
Yeah.
And to the right.
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Now go for a walk and just walk and enjoy.
Yeah,
No, this is.
that's great.
Oh, beautiful diagonal you have.
Feeling better.
Yeah.
Fluidity, what would you say, how are you feeling?
It feels smooth. I can really, like, my legs are supporting me, I can feel the diagonals.
Yeah,
Just easy is the best word.
yeah, well, you can see around Janet's waist, all the movement that's going on there. Just look at all those wrinkles going. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
feel comfortable.
rotation, there's side bending, there's
You do it for the
everything
video.
happening. Yeah, walk for the video so we can.
Hey, Martha can see you do. Can we move the table?
Yeah.
For teaching purposes, okay, I'm like that.
Okay. Change of guard. Good job, Melonie.
Great job, Nava.
But that's an option for.
To really, yeah, but she was definitely, her thing was left, the left and the right, so we stayed with you on that, and that was a nice little bit. And with
Yeah.
you, so you could feel that and then find your center. Yeah.
Well, we didn't do the other side, right? We didn't do the other side on the table, so here's an idea, you can harvest the other side. So it's half F5, but then the other side's done as an ATM.
Ah.
And because we did the other side as an ATM, and Martha had the nice idea about getting the person involved in the movement.
Right.
So because you were involved in what we were doing, that learning was very, very concrete for you because you learned what you weren't doing on that one side. And if Melonie found that for you, you may have figured it out or you may not have. But this way you definitely figured it out, and now you own it, because you know what you did before, and you know what you're doing now to make it different.
Right. Yeah. Also in sitting, she did really close.
Yeah.
The sitting was.
Yeah, and now, Melonie just filled Janet's pelvis again, and you'll probably feel her pelvis much different. Yeah, it's feeling much more symmetrical, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The wrinkles look. Or something.
Yeah, you got that, the wrinkles are symmetrical.
Yeah, it is it's kind of like a profound difference, but I can't put words to it.
Yeah, it's okay, you don't have to, as long as you can feel it.
All right.
Okay, Melonie, yeah, you could wear your sweater, or are you gonna be cold, or are you gonna be okay? So we're just gonna start by looking. Yeah, Janet may need glasses to look.
Also like, yeah, there's something between the knees, so that was good.
Yep, yeah, keep that for the knee. I should have another towel here. Yeah.
I also like to lie on my right.
Okay, but first off, Melonie's gonna stand, Janet's gonna look, and then Janet's gonna see how the pelvis feels.
And you wanna stand so that.
Yeah, we can have you stand so Martha can see. Martha, do I need to lift the computer up a little?
It looks good,
There you go, now you have her head.
even better.
So the wrinkles are different.
Right, so you're just feeling the front, feeling the back. Maybe one difference that stands out the most to you? Whether the front of the pelvis is lower than the back of the pelvis, meaning there's more extension, or whether one hand's more forward than the other hand, which means there's more rotation, or one hand's higher than the other hand, which means there's more side bending.
And, Tom, my question was, my hands aren't as big as yours, to feel the ASIS and the PSIS at the same time, or would you just? So my hands are.
Close. And you stretch them. Yeah, so use this finger, it's a longer finger. Okay, so you can feel toward there. Now you feel toward there. And then now you can feel that, right? This thumb is quite a bit higher.
Uh-huh.
So, and then if you go here, right, you can feel that extension. Okay, so you got some information. So we'll have Melonie on her more comfortable side. We got the pads to even out the knees.
The right side, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. You may need to put this, slant it down a little.
Mhm.
I'll take the cushions.
There we go.
This is a good place to give on the paper, okay. Mhm.
And it does make a big difference even from the start, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because she looks a lot more even if we didn't have the pads. You see she's more forward.
Mhm.
That is nice start.
I'm wondering, do you think we need more of that?
You almost need one more.
The longer pad. Only we had longer gardening pad, yeah.
As the shoulders a little forward. Back's a little rounded. Hip bone, pretty close, that's pretty close to center. But then, you know, when you even put your hands on for the first movement, that may help. Yeah, so you can feel where you are on the ilium here, and where does the other ilium feel on the floor? Does it feel like it's directly under your hands, or a little behind, or a little forward, a little that way? Okay, good. Okay, so, you know, you're using the table in your hand to also get the location of the pelvis. That's the one way. That's the other way. Which way's easier? Yeah, just go the easy way a little bit. Just to easy and then to the start position. Don't worry about going the other way yet. Okay, so let's separate it. You got the direction of the ribs down, right? So keep taking the ribs in that direction. Think about rolling them on the table. Are you gonna be more comfortable sitting, or are you okay standing?
For the ribs, probably sitting.
Yeah, or, no, you could even put one foot up.
Oh, okay. Try this one first. I don't know what to do this.
Well, let's see. Let's see where you may wanna put it, right? No, it's okay, so what I see. Yeah, you can just kind of find right under the spine. Okay, now connect your two hands. There you go. So the rotation of the ribs as you go through the spine and turning the spine. Yeah, you can feel it.
Yeah.
So now that's what we're doing, is we're just helping Melonie become more aware of this connection between the rib cage and how her spine goes with it. And now you can see it's going into the sacrum better, which is throwing her pelvis.
As far away.
Well, if you're accurate, that's what Mia said, if you're accurate with precise in what you're doing, it happens quickly.
I was just kind of curious.
Yeah,
Connecting.
Yeah, you can find the sacrum, see what happens to the sacrum. And you can feel the sequence of it, right? How it goes down the spine and when it finally gets to the sacrum. So there's, all in betweens. How her contact changes with the table, but also how the movement's going through and the sequence of the movement when each port's happening. And then one can feel that. You can feel the turning of the spine, and she can feel when it finally gets all the way down to the sacrum. Back. Now let's roll the pelvis and see how that movement of the pelvis is going through.
The pelvis or both?
Actually do the pelvis because then you can differentiate. Yeah, nice. You can see it's all the way up to your head in a nice way. So you don't really have to do much there, it's already done.
Yes.
Yeah, so now undifferentiated with both. So you're rolling her as a unit, all of her going at once, evenly. And now, well, we're not going to worry about center yet, because we have to do undifferentiated, or rather differentiated. Good. Okay, find center. Okay, so now you're going to differentiate. One part goes forward, the other part goes backwards. Yeah, start slow, start gently. There you go. And think about where the twist is. Right, you're differentiating part of the rest to twist. What part is going to twist that allows the pelvis to go forward and the ribs to go back? And if it's hard to find, what you can do is just stop one part. Just keep this hand still and roll the other hand. So you're getting information there. It's good, that's nice and slow. Okay, now this hand is gonna keep still, and so nothing moves, ribs don't move, but pelvis moves. Pay attention to where the twist is. Start the easy direction.
Very
Feel-
small.
Yeah, can you feel the trochanter on the table? Yeah,
Very
roll
small.
over the trochanter, yeah, so think about you're rolling over that trochanter up the lower leg. Feel how you can roll over it. There you go. Now think about your fingers and how your fingers, you can take it up from here and you can take the palm back from there. That's a little
Firm,
fast,
yeah.
but there you go. Now you got the rolling. Good, so now you got the feeling in both hands. Now see if it's easier to take the right hand forward and left hand backwards. Just a little bit on that, and see if you can do both hands the same. They move, start at the same time, they go the same amount. There you go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, good. See, yeah, and you can see that fold sliding there.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for. Yeah. See those wrinkles
Yeah,
slide
yeah.
like that? Yeah. So those wrinkles are gonna let you know if you have it. Beautiful. Yeah, that's not easy to do, but that's wonderful differentiation. Okay, yeah, you and Melonie take a little rest, and now you can just go back to the rolling and think little forward, center, little backwards. Okay, a little back. Okay, when is one hip bone on top of the other one? When is she centered? Stop. When is she forward? The feeling of the pelvis being not turned forward, not turned backwards, but being centered.
I think this feels like right here. Yeah. I'm too far forward.
Yeah. And that's a nice thing too. You can have Melonie say, you can go slow and have Melonie say, when do you feel centered?
Feel
Melonie?
centered? Yeah, it does. Very nice.
I feel that her ribs are moving much more than her pelvis, which will just slow down the ribs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the idea is she's going as a unit, all of her. So make the movement smaller so
Okay.
one doesn't get away, because you only have to go a tiny bit to be off center, right?
Right.
So just go a tiny bit. Yeah, and
Does that
stop
feel
before the
center?
ribs run away from the
Yeah,
pelvis.
I feel like I feel like I'm pulling you off center.
You're all centered, right?
I see. Yeah, just a little.
Yeah, just
Feel
a little bit.
forward.
Yeah, particularly if one part of her is getting ahead of the other part.
Yeah.
Because that's the idea, the idea is just feeling all of herself being centered.
Yeah, because this was, if I went further, this just kept. going.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh. Feel a little rest.
Yeah, a little rest and then you can do the side bendy thing.
Something.
Yeah, try a few different things. Yeah, if you want, you could even have one foot alongside and you can kneel on the table. Yeah, easiest movement first. Which way is easiest to go? Easier to bring her back towards you? Okay, and focus on up.
I'm not too sure. And it's not this up. it's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, don't worry about going up center. Just
Okay.
find easiest way to connect to her head. Yeah, you can feel her head, right?
Yeah.
Good, so that's what you. Easy
Yeah.
direction. Okay, so good. And then what you can do is you're kind of rolling in a little bit that way.
Mhm.
So now you got that to go easier. See if you can, just for the heck of it, change the direction a little bit. See if that's more good. Okay. So now here's the cool thing. See if you can find a way to go where she's not rolling her torso.
Mm.
And be small. There you go. Yeah, keep it small like that. You see her arms, head moving? If her head's moving, you're there. Good. So that's the idea. You know, she may not be perfectly centered, but that's okay. The idea is to get this movement without her rolling forward or backwards. And then feeling when one hip bones on top of the other one. Yeah. So you're kind of finding that line where you can get this direct connection with the head with a lot of, with very little movement.
Yeah.
In the beginning, though, don't be concerned with that. In the beginning, let her move however she's going to move so you can get the movement to go through. Now we're just, now that you got the movement going through really nicely, now we're just refining a little bit. Okay, so that's a little one way. Now feel when this hand, when you feel like you have the one hip right over the other hip. Where's that spot? And then you can move it a little away one way. That side bending to the left. Shortening up to the left side. See if you can get a little length. There you go. Nice. See, if she rotates, you're not going to get the same kind of length anymore.
Right.
Because the rotation is going to take some of that movement away.
Yeah.
But you're so dialed in that you can get this movement without Melonie rotating. That's impressive. It's not easy to do.
Does that feel like center in your hip more?
A little bit off center. Yeah.
That feels like center.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Okay.
Nice, it's nice to feel the different directions, underneath me, it's where I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, you're good at using the floor.
yeah.
Okay. So I'm wondering, can you play with?
The reflection is
That's a little bit of extension like that.
Oh, so you're just on
And
either
that's a
side.
little flexion. And so that's flexing a little bit. So the extension's easier to find than the flexion. With the flexion, you may have to turn the
Ah, that's a nice.
other way. Just thinking of just using the top of the pelvis a little bit. Find that, or you can try the sit bone in
I like this. Here.
And the thing is, she's kind of already flexed to start, right? So you don't really have to do much flexion. It's,
Do you feel flexion there?
Mhm.
Right
A
here?
little bit.
Oh, we want to do it, right?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, facing that way there. And if you look at her back here,
Yeah.
she's already kind of flexed, right? So you just may wanna think about, cause that's flexion. So
Yeah.
where's center and then where's beyond center? Because she's not centered.
Uh-huh.
She's flexed a little back.
Just
So-
from her leg position
Right,
too.
so where is this pelvis gonna? And you can look at her head and see when her head lifts a little.
Ah,
Or you can do it from the sit bones. So that way you don't even have to play with the legs or the feet.
oh, that's it. That's an extension.
Yeah, feel it all in the spine.
I like that handhold of the sacrum. Does that feel comfortable now? Right here?
Yeah, the hand on the sacrum feels comfortable.
Is that not comfortable?
That may be,
I'm going to say here.
That one.
That better?
Yeah, I think it is better.
So not so much input in.
Right, because
Okay,
then I
great.
feel like I wasn't, I felt like I was almost immobilizing my pelvis.
Oh, okay, so
Where
good.
now, I just feel like now I can
Everything
feel my
moving.
pelvis
Okay.
connected to my head. Otherwise, I was feeling my spine in my head, but I thought the other hand was kind of
Yeah, I don't know what to
holding.
do with that hand.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
you did something about, yeah, sacrum and head, which was really.
yeah, so you can do that. You have one hand on the sacrum, one hand on the head.
Just that stand on.
Sit. And you can just slowly work up with your right hand. And when you feel like you have her centered, just stay there with her in that centered position for a little bit. So she can feel what it's like to be centered.
Can I put my hand on it?
Yeah, you can do that, so she can feel the lift coming from the sacrum up to her head. And just stay there. Stay there, so stay there in that centered position. Just let her hold that and feel what it's like to be centered. You can look at her breathing and try to breathe the same way she is. Little NLP, right? What do we call that?
Here,
Rapport, building, yeah, you're building rapport. Okay, let her come back. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's harvest this lesson. We're gonna do it with Mel standing.
Yeah, I definitely feel, even laying down, I feel taller because it's unusual, because I'm used to being like this, I think. And so to be like this, which is centered,
uh-huh.
to me, like, I even feel my length differently.
Yeah.
Because I was shorter, I felt shorter.
Huh.
And that's why it's nice to hold the person there for a
Yeah,
little while.
uh-huh.
So rather it's kind of being a fleeted thing, they feel, oh, this is what it's like to be centered. This is,
Yeah.
oh, this is a unique, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how you feel standing up. Since you had that experience on the table. Yeah, just stand up now.
Way.
Yeah, stand the same way. Oh, yeah, already see a difference in your posture. Yeah, yeah, so you can see, Janet, just put your hands on the pelvis so you can both feel the difference of how our pelvis is now. Yeah, nice difference, huh, Janet? Yeah, Mel, can you feel the difference?
Yeah, well, I felt my shoulder blades sink.
Yeah, but just looking at your pelvis, your hips are more open,
Yeah.
your lower back isn't as arched. Looks like your stomach's breathing a little easier and freer. Okay. Now, but even at the sides, you're gonna do what Mia does with the turning. So the first thing is we wanna find out which way Nell turns the easiest. She picked the left, okay, and do it once to the right to make sure. Okay, so Janet, really look and study and see what Mel does when she turns to the left. What makes that so good? What's she doing with the right leg? What's she doing with the left leg? Okay, yeah, just to the right, left,
Just
no,
to the
just to
left.
the easy way. Where does the weight go on her foot?
There's a weight on the outer edge of my left foot better than feeling my right.
Oh, that's right to the right. Let's see what we can add to
Like
it.
I can't find that edge stability somehow. Have to
Okay,
So just have her study it on the left leg.
yeah, so one thing,
I have to stop here. I guess can't turn as much without losing that stability.
Okay,
on
can
the
you
edge.
bend? All right, so one thing she has to do is learn how to support herself on the right leg. And you can notice that, see how go to the left, Melonie. You see how that left knee straightens and turns out? You're not doing that with your right leg. You're keeping the right knee bent forward. So what you can do is really bend your left knee and let your left turn to the right, let your left knee drop. There you go. Now you're putting more weight on your right leg. So as you turn to the right, what you can do is look to the right and reach up towards the ceiling. Now feel how you have to extend your leg. There you go. And come back. Yeah, come back all the way so you're evenly in the center. Okay, so go to the left. You feel how that's turning, turn this leg in. And feel how this leg can turn more, how you can from this forward. You have to come back slow. Okay, now slowly turn to the right, slowly shift your weight. Good, there you go. Now turn that ankle out. You don't have, there you go. You feel these, come back with the knees and turn with the knees. Back with the knees. There you go. You feel how you're finding your foot and the outside of your heel. This is the piece that you have.
Can I just feel it with me? Because Tom helped me with this last weekend. Like, just go to the left side. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Martha, you good? You have any last questions before we close up shop?
No, it was good work, everybody. And nice to see repeat with turning and standing. It is a great way to take all the work that's been done and put it together functionally. It's nice. And it doesn't come, it takes a little bit extra integration and sensing and it's both differentiating and integrating to get it into the standing turning at the end.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn off the recording.